I'm going to do a really elementary basic lesson for those of you young and old who've always wanted to play guitar but have been, perhaps, let's admit it, even too embarrassed to ask where to start. The thought occurred to me on 2 nights before Christmas Eve when I had the neighbors over for dinner, and a young fellow, highly intelligent, because he was asking me about the stratosphere and cumulonimbus clouds that were forming that evening on the horizon. He said to me, "Sir, what's the difference between an acoustic guitar and an electric guitar?" Now, I started playing guitar for the first time 51 years ago. And I was gobsmacked because I didn't have an immediate answer for him, because he was examining me on scientific fronts and chemistry, and of which I know very little about because I last studied it when I was 14, very successfully. But I didn't have an immediate answer for him. And then it occurred to me there's probably a lot of people like him that are probably, at least he had the guts to ask the question, but especially if you're a little bit older, you might be too embarrassed to ask what's the difference. So I thought I want to make a basic lesson for you and go through everything about guitars. It'll hopefully even get you playing a couple of solos and strumming away your favorite songs. So here we have the body of an acoustic guitar. This is called the bridge. It's a 6-string guitar. We got the hole so that the sound can resonate within the hollow, and we have a guitar's neck. We have frets and fret wires. We have fret markers, those little dots you see there. And unlike a piano or a keyboard, the white and black keys, there's a different connotation, which I'll explain to you as the lesson progresses. It has machine heads, these little things that you use to tighten the strings. These are called the pegs, which the string is wound around. This area here of the guitar is known as the machine head. This piece of plastic, in this case, or not ivory, is known as a nut. And if your guitar, especially electric guitar, continues to go out of tune, often your issue is with the nut. Those nut slots are the slits in there where the strings go through, and if the strings get caught in there, then the guitar's going to go out of tune, especially when you're doing this on your electric guitar. Those are called bends, because you're putting tension. So you have the 6 strings, and the first thing you need to know something about sound science. Well, a few thousand years ago, or a few hundred years ago, certainly, a guy called Pythagoras, a Greek mathematician, came up with the concept of dividing a sound that the human ear hears into 12 distinct bands. We call those, in America, we call them steps. Those are half steps. Each fret represents a half step. There are 12 octaves. So here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We then hit 1 octave. An octave is from, let's call it from A to Z, if you care. From A to Z of this sound spectrum. Then from 12 onwards, we're just repeating. That string, the first string on the guitar, in standard tuning, because you can tune the guitar in any way you want, but there is a standard pitch. Now, I can't tell you the decibels, but you can go look that up on Google. I have electronic tuner here, but I forgot to charge it. So with the colder weather, it's gone flat. So I'm using my ear to tell me, because I've been playing a long time. That's an E pitch. And it then goes F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F. Now, F there at the first fret is equivalent to, hopefully you can hear that it's an octave higher, like this. There's an F. And that's an octave. Okay, so now you know there's 6 strings. Now a guitar is tuned in a very specific way in what we call, in Western music, standard tuning. You got an E starting at the top here, you got an E, we got an A, a D, a G, a B, and an E. So the top and bottom strings have got the identical names, but it's just in a higher octave. And at the 12th fret, you've got the 3rd octave, etc. How's that? 1, 2. That's also an E. That's an E. 1. Same octave. Hopefully you can hear that. Now when you tune a guitar, you actually tune it from the bottom because the strings have tension in them. And when they vibrate, it goes through the ear, the eardrum starts to move, and then there's a little nerve that goes to your brain. And it gets processed in your brain as sound. Just trust me on that. So we've got an open E. We then depress at the 5th fret here of the guitar on the B string, and we leave the E string open. And we want to hear the same sound. Then I go to the 4th fret on the G string. And that note is a B note, because that's a G string. G, G sharp, A sharp, B. And you know that the 2nd string from the bottom here is a B. So now hopefully it sounds like a B. Then we go back to the 5th fret, and we've got a D, we've got a G note there, to a G string, the 3rd string from the bottom. We got a D to the D string, and we got an A to the A string. You following that logic? Now that's just not by coincidence. That's because the guitar is tuned in what is referred to as 4th intervals. An A note is, how can I put it? The note below the A is a D. You can look at it this way. A sharp, B, C, there is no C sharp, C sharp, D. When I depress A there at the 5th fret, because you can do the same thing, E, F sharp, G, G sharp, A to an A string, but the note below it is then a D. Now, a D is the 4th note of the major scale. Now, the root of all Western music is based on the notes of the major scale. Now, the major scale, if you looked at a keyboard, you know, we went from a harpsichord to a piano style. You know, a harpsichord, I believe, only had no flats, only had white keys, effectively. You didn't have the half steps I referred to. So the notes of the C major scale are like this. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That's 1 octave. If I continued, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now eventually you're going to have to get to know these shapes. There's another shape you can use, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That's referred to as a 3-note per string method. This is between 2 and 3. But you can use both those shapes. There's a 3rd shape. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. There's many shapes. Think about it. Therefore, eventually you're going to have to know the notes on the guitar. Now, let me tell you, my grandson, at the age of 6, he's a pretty smart boy. He could tell me that there are 72 notes. I hope I'm right. No, there's 66 notes on a 12 in 12 frets, because he said to me 6 times 11, sorry, 6 times 12 is 72. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Then we're going into the next octave. So there's 11 depressible notes before we hit the next octave. 11 times 6 is 66. And when we get the electric guitar there, you'll see it's got 22 frets. So he said to me 6 times 11 is 66, and 66 plus 66 is 132. There's 132 places where you can depress notes. And then you've got the 6 open strings. I can tell you there's another 6 on the 132. It's 138 notes. Now you could be totally overwhelmed when you want to start playing your favorite solos, like that's very old-fashioned, early 1960s. One of the first solos I learned to play by the Shadows, Apache. Or this song by Carlos Santana. Samba Party, late 1960s, Carlos Santana. Okay, if you know a little bit about music. Now, the point is, I learned to play that rote fashion by ear, by knowing how it should sound, by playing it thousands and thousands of times over an old vinyl record. That's how we did it. Let me tell you, there's a faster way of doing it. And it took me 55 years. Oh, it took me to the age of 55 to find out. But this is where it's going to get more advanced. But we're going to stick to, now you know there's 4 notes and the guitar is tuned in fourths, because from an E string to an A string, if you go play the E major scale, E, F sharp, etc., when you get to the 4th note, 3, 4, it's A. A is the perfect 4th interval of the E major scale. So from an E to a D, to a D note, then from a D to a D string, and then the D, the G there to the G string, the B to the B string. Now a B to a D. There's a B, excuse me, from that B to that B string. G to B, 1, 2, 3, is a major 3rd interval. This is one way you can look at it. If you play the major scale on one string. I'm going to start over here at C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm back to C. Now, when I play a D, D, E, F, G. Does that make sense? D goes to G because it's the 4th interval, and then I go from G to B, G, A, B. So that's why between the G and the B string, it's tuned. A guitar is tuned in standard tuning in major 3rd interval. So all the strings except G to B. So therefore, A, that's an octave. There's an A. Note that there's one space, then I play an A there, skip a string, but when I go from a note there to an A note there, which is the next octave, I'm skipping 2 frets because the 4th and the major 3rd tuning issue between the D and the G string. I hope you got that. You have to compensate one string, half step, or in the UK they call it a semitone. Because when you skip a whole fret, you're talking about a tone or a step, a whole step in the US language. The fret next door, those are half steps or semitones. It's just a language thing. Okay. So now you know how the guitar's tuned and you understand the theory of that. And I think it's important that you did understand that. Now quickly I need to tell you about what's the difference between the acoustic guitar and the electric guitar. Well, this one relies just on mechanical acoustics. There's no electrical input here. The string vibrates, it gets amplified by this hollow through that box. It depends on the quality of the wood, etc. Now we won't get too deep there. Now electric guitar, if I can just put this guitar over here for a second, and I hope you're finding this interesting. Now the electric guitar, this thing's built for speed, isn't it? Well, let me tell you, it's, in my humble opinion, that it's the most ergonomical guitar. Fender Stratocaster revolutionized the world in 1954, first produced. This specific beauty was acquired by me in the year 2014 at the age of 55, when I sort of made my comeback after 35 years on guitar, in that I had to build my life up. But this is a 60-year replica of the original 1954 Fender Stratocaster. So we have a body, we have an input jack for an electric lead to go into an amplifier, which amplifies the sound, which is produced by little magnets. We have pickups here, because this thing runs on about 1.5 volts, like a little torch battery equivalent power. Not that it's got any power, but it's got magnets in there which take the vibration of that string and send a signal to what is known as coils, which is copper wound around these magnets, and it creates electrical field. And that electrical signal goes out through that jack, through a lead, or nowadays through an electronic transmitter, into your amplifier, which then magnifies the sound. Okay, you got in this specific guitar, you've got a 5-way selector switch, which selects between the 3 pickups. So that's the neck pickup, because it's closest to the neck of the guitar. That's the middle pickup. The second selection is those 2 together. You get a very sweet sound, very unique to a Fender Stratocaster. That one there. The 4th selection is those 2, and the position down there is the bridge pickup. You get a very sharp sound, because the length of the string to the bridge here is very short. This is known as a floating bridge. I don't know if you can see under there, but I can go, because I have a space here to attach a tremolo arm. You know, Joe Satriani, Eddie Van Halen. I don't like a tremolo arm. I find it very 60s personally. So I don't use mine. I've never ever attached it to my guitar, but that's called a tremolo arm. That's a floating bridge, where the acoustic guitar has a fixed bridge. Many electric guitars, like a Gibson Les Paul, have a fixed bridge. About these pickups, they copper wound and they single wound. Just trust me on that, I won't get more technical than that. So you get a thinner, sharper sound. But of course you can modify that by electrical pedals, and nowadays they use digital interfaces and plugins and all those things that I'm not even familiar with, because I like the old analog valve or tube amps, as the Americans call them. You watch my channel, you've seen my amps. Most of the time I'm playing through a transistor amplifier, which is my practice amplifier. It's very loud, 100 watts, and I'm not even playing it anywhere near half capacity. And then of course I've got my Marshall 100-watt tube amp, or valve amp, there's a British, made by Jim Marshall of the UK. And let me tell you now, that most times when you see me playing, even with my group, that it gets together about 3 times a year, of elderly gentlemen, believe it or not, I'm only playing that amp at volume 1 1/4. It's a very, very loud amp. I can play it in a football stadium. It's very loud on a certain selection. when I wired in series, but we won't talk about science now. Once again, we've got fret markers, we've got fret wires, we've got a maple neck, which can change the feel and sound, and it's polished. So you have a very different feel if you see me playing my PRS or my Fender Telecaster, which is a rosewood neck. It has a different feel. The neck has a certain radius. We won't get more technical there. The guitar is cut out so you can get very high up here to the D note, because there's 22 frets on the guitar. You know by now that's an E, an E, an open E, and an E, and therefore, if the guitar had 24 frets, you'd be back at E again, wouldn't you? In the higher octave. Well, now if you're at the 22nd fret, I've given you a clue for serious shredders. You're playing I'm playing a D note because it's 22 frets, 2 below E. That's 10. 10 plus 12 is 22. So I'm giving you some fretboard mathematics here now as well. Honestly, in much more advanced classes, that's going to be of very useful. Here we've got a nut as well, and then not only unique to this guitar, but this guitar has what they call a string tree. You see it's filtering those two strings into the pegs there. And then we have machine heads, we have a tuner knobs, and this is the machine head area of the fretboard. And then electric guitars have what they call a truss rod. It's a metal rod, and Paul Reed Smith has 2 metal rods. Behind there is a mechanical nut that you get an Allen key to turn, but please, just especially a Paul Reed Smith, because it's got dual truss rods, it bends the neck, because the neck isn't actually totally straight, very difficult to see with the human eye, but it has a slight bow in it, because that's how stringed instruments work. And I've told you a lot about the technicalities. You're kind of wondering why I've got my daughter's hair tie here, because you know when you're doing that can dampen the extraneous sound, because when I amplify it through a 100-watt amplifier, the neighbor knows about it because it makes a lot of sounds and that will help dampen it. So when you see me playing like this, I'm trying to dampen the strings that I'm only playing the B string, so I don't want the other strings, so I'm keeping them dampened. Okay, so now you know what's going on there. So you now know about the physical attributes of a guitar, which is very important. So you're not like an idiot when you walk into the next thing. You know what's going on. When you switch an amplifier on, always please make sure the volume is on 0. And when you wire up a pedal board, which is like auto drum machines, etc., and you put it through your effects loop of your amplifier, please make sure the amplifier is on 0 volume. And more importantly, your drum machines or your loop pedal volume is on 0. I'm an experienced guitarist of over 45 years experience, and I was on my hands and knees in front of my 100-watt, and I had my drum pedal volume set at quarter past. In other words, you know what I mean, sort of 8 out of 10 volume. Going through the effects loop, which bypasses the volume control on the front of the amplifier. Just trust me, the sound wave hit my body 4.5 meters across the room until my back hit the wall. It was worse than an electrical shock I once experienced when I was 10 years old on 240 volts current in South Africa. I touched both wires on a plug who someone removed underneath a cupboard, and I was thrown right across the 3-meter room. Well, the sound wave had the same effect. So the fact that I can still hear today, by the grace of God, please make sure all your volumes on all your equipment until you're totally comfortable with what you're doing, or you could literally kill yourself. I have a slogan downstairs: this amplifier can kill you. When I bought it, I got this little pamphlet with it. Believe me, it can. And another thing about electric guitars, amplifiers, do never ever open them unless you know what you're doing. And if you have to open them, make sure one hand is in a pocket at all times, because you will electrocute yourself even if that amplifier has been unplugged for 8 months. It has a transformer which stores the electrical current. In Australia, South Africa, we have 240 volts. which are amplified within that transformer, I believe. Well, 240 volts enough to kill you anyway. I've had the shock once, but thank God that the room was earthed. By the grace of God, I'm still alive, and I didn't kill myself at the age of 10, and I'm not deaf at the age of 56 or 55 when it happened. Now, you want to get on to play guitar. So, you know, when you look at a keyboard, it's easy to understand. The white keys simply represent the 7 whole notes. The C, the D, the E, the F, the G, the A, the B, the C. All the white notes. So just trust me, this is a C chord in its most basic format. A C, a E, a G, an open G, and another C there, and the E. The weather's strange, so the guitars are not staying very well in tune because I haven't played them, as you can see. Right, so when you play the white keys on the piano, they're all next to each other, aren't they? Now, let me tell you what's happening. There's only 7 notes in a scale, C, D, E, F, G. Those are the whole tones, or the whole intervals. The black keys, there's 5 of them, because the 7 plus 5 is 12, remember, in one octave, on a guitar string. So we got E, which is a white key, because it's C, E, F, you know, C, D, E. F is a white key. F sharp is the black key. You know those 2 keys that sit like that, the black ones, where there's 2? Well, I grew up with the piano because my late mom, played since she was the age of 6 until her death at age 85. Music is a beautiful thing. Trust me, and that's why you want to play guitar at least. So the first black key that looks almost like Batman's teeth. When I was young, I used to think of it as Batman's teeth, if you know what I mean, if you know the Batman. Right, that is the F sharp, which is the second note there, because you got E, F, both white keys, a black key, a G, which is a white key. You follow? A G sharp, so that's your second black key. And now A is white, A sharp, B is white, C is white. Important that you remember this sequence. C sharp, D white, D sharp, black, E white, because it's C, D, E, F, G. F sharp, black. Okay, now we're going into the next octave. Now please remember one thing. Only between E and F and C and D, there's no black keys. Equivalent. Now piano, a standard piano keyboard, the white keys, the first ones here on the left hand side of the keyboard, represents the first octave. It repeats 7 times. On a guitar you can reach, on an electric guitar you can on a 24 fret guitar you can reach up to 5 octaves. You've got an F, you've got an F, you've got an F. Skip a string, skip a fret. Skip a string, skip 2 frets, and you've got an F. Remember what I told you about the tuned in thirds? Right. There's another F there. There's 4 octaves. But if we were playing E, if we had 24 frets, we could get to the 5th octave on a fretboard if you had a 24 fret guitar. You then want to learn to be able to play chords. But before I go there, I want to quickly talk about the sharps. F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, C sharp, D sharp. Now back to E, which is the open string on the thick top string. Excuse me. You've heard the term G flat, haven't you? A flat, B flat, D flat, E flat. There's 5 of them. That's all there are. Have you noticed that the F sharp is the same as G flat? The G sharp is the same as A flat. So the theory is if you're coming up then it's F sharp, but if you're going down, it's G flat. Write these things down, memorize it. All this theory and the rest of it that I'm going to tell you a lot of, to the point where you're soloing, like, you know. You're doing this sort of thing. Not very well executed, is more for electric guitar, but let me tell you, till you get to that level and you get to a lot more wacky levels, diminished scales and all sorts of scales, it can take you as little as 2 years to know it all, trust me. But when you want to do these things smoothly, because I'm still learning. Those are called arpeggios. All I did was play an A minor chord there. I played an A, a C and an E. It's referred to as a triad. Because chords are made up of triads. 3 notes. A major chord is a root. Now I'm going to play A major for you, because I showed you the shape earlier. A, C sharp, which is the 3rd note, and a perfect 5th. Because you can go count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're back to 8. I'm using this, what I call three notes per string method of playing A major. I'll show you another method. 1. Or A, B, C. Sorry, let me play C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. D, E, F, G, A, B, C. 2 octaves in the horizontal position on the guitar's fretboard. It was easy to do C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. I'm going to do A now. A, B. Oh gosh, now we're in trouble. C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. That's just 1 octave. Imagine if I went to B flat. B flat, C, D, E flat, or E flat or D sharp if you care. You follow? Can you see the problems I'm getting myself into? You're going to say, how the hell, Mike, am I going to remember all of that? What if I said you can go like this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, back to A. What if I said to you, I'll go back to C here. 1, flat 2 as it's known, 3, 1, flat 2, 2, flat 3, 3, 4, flat 5, 5, flat 6, 6, flat 7, 7, flat 7, 7, 8. Okay, so you got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. 1, and now we go. C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, A sharp, B, C. So it's 1, flat 2, 2, flat 3, 3, 4, flat 5, 5, flat 6, 6, flat 7, 7, back to 1 or 8, and you start counting again in the next octave. Write that down if you can't remember it. It's going to be massively important. That is known as the national numbering system. Replaces the notes of the, instead of coming out of E flat here, the shape remains the same. You can get it in your muscle memory. Now, muscle memory is referred to as that. You think it's in your hand, but it's actually coming out of your brain, which is giving the signal to the nerve endings in your fingers, okay? But we call it muscle memory. in the music world. When you see the guys going crazy. Right, now you been thrown in on the deep end here because I'm talking about scales and things. You've heard of modes, right? So if I play G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Now you know what the G major scale is. Everything is the same as C except for the F became an F sharp if you were observing me. But the key thing about this is if I play G major in its first position, there's 7 modes. I'm really going deep here, but you may as well get into it. It's Greek language. They use it in music because music's been around all the time. So the Greeks got in first. They call it the Ionian mode, the position 1 of G major. Each major scale has 7 modes because there's 7 notes in the major scale. So the next mode is referred to as Dorian. Now Carlos Santana uses that a lot. What are we talking about? Well, if you played the G major scale like I just did, but instead of starting at G, I started A. A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A. That's Dorian. That's G Dorian. The third note in the G major scale is B. So I'll go B, C, D, E, F sharp. Remember the notes? The only difference with C major scale is F sharp versus a F. So if we look at the G Dorian quickly, we got G1, flat 2, flat 3. You can go work it out. 4. You can do this. 5, flat 6, flat 7, back to 1 or 8. You've just learned Phrygian mode. Yesterday I happened to do a video on a thing called Phrygian dominant because I know you rockers, the young ones, love this stuff. One note makes a difference, the name of that short yesterday, and they loved it. By replacing the minor third, which is 3 frets away from the root, with a major third, which is 1 note above the minor third, and you got what they call that. I'm getting really deep now because you say to me, Mike, this is all great. When are we going to play music? Well, let me tell you now, if you write this all down, make your own notes in a format that you understand. You're going to love me, I promise you. Do I look like I'm unhappy? Mate, you are going to love me because I only found this stuff out when I was about 57, 58 years old, thanks to YouTube and all the artists that generously gave free of their time to put the videos up. I've done the scenic route to acquire this knowledge over the last 10 years, and I'm presenting it in a very informal fashion. And music is not from an A to Z or C to G. You've got to understand where I'm coming from. You can jump in anywhere in this sphere of information and your brain will get it. So go really slowly and absorb these facts. The fact that you're going to have to get calluses on your fingertips, that you're going to learn the chords that you want to play. There's probably thousands of ways you can play chords. I started with a very exotic chord, which you can, and chords get their names from intervals, as I hinted on earlier, because a major chord is 1, major 3, perfect 5th. Like an A chord is like this. You've got an open A string on the 5th here, an E, you can go count it out, 3, 4, 5, in E, and a C sharp, 1, 2, 3, C sharp. We've got a root major third, perfect fifth. We've got an A chord. Now I'm going to just jump ahead because you want to know how to play the chords. That's A. You strum from the A string, the bottom 5 strings. A B is the same shape, but you move it up 2 frets because you've got A sharp, B. Some people go like that. That's called an A-shaped bar chord. Remember what I said? You can jump in anywhere. I'm putting you in the deep end here. There's a C chord in the A bar format. Okay. I'm looking after 2 little puppies here today. But they're having a sleep, one at my foot and one behind my back here. They're only that big, little black. Maybe I can just get him out to show you. There you go. So hello Ziggy. This is Ziggy and the other one's Marley, and they're leaving for their forever homes tomorrow. Okay, he'll go back and sleep behind my back while I'm doing the video for you. Right, so we've got A. These are called open chords. Us musos, we call them cowboy chords. A, B, not so much that one, but if I played it like, if I play it like that for you, cowboy shape, then C, E, and the open G string. Now you can get chord charts online. It's so simple, but you know what I'm doing. C, D, you only strum from the 4th string, from the D string. It's called a root 4 chord. Root 4 gets its name from the 4th string from the bottom. That's a root 5 chord, 5th string from the bottom. Then we've got C, a root 5 chord, from the C note there, D, and E. We've got an open E, we've got a B, which is the perfect 5th. And we've got another E, and we've got an A flat. So you can go count it out for yourself. E, F sharp, A flat, or G sharp if you can. And that's where that shape comes from. E, and then the dreaded one. So for the first month or 2, you might find your hand gets serious cramps in your wrist here. It's normal. Oh, by the way, your fingertips are going to ache like hell. When I was a kid of 14, we used to stick our fingers in methylated spirits. I don't think households keep that anymore. Whether it works or not is up to you scientists. So that's an F. Now I want to point out to you, does that shape look familiar? You see I'm barring those first 2 strings there. And that's the difficulty that beginners have. The F and then the G. And modern version, you play both at the 3rd fret there, both strings. That's the way the modern guitarists play the G. And you'll recall I played, that's called a G5. And I went to a G7. Because D is the 5th of G. I've got a G, an open G, and a D. That's where I get a G5 name. See, you're using your theory of the major scale to name your chords now. It comes from the Led Zeppelin song, the Rain song. That's how I started. And that exotic chord, used by guys like the late Alan Holsworth and Al Di Meola, the great like sort of flamenco style guitarist. Beautiful sound. I just wanted to get your ear enticed to play guitar. So I gave you the 7 major chords and the 5 minor chords. An A minor, change fingering, move it up to a B minor, same shape. A C minor, a D minor, played like this. You can go look these up, an E minor. So remember the A flat was my major 3rd, and if I make the A flat a G, then I'm playing the minor 3rd interval. 1, 2, 3 frets up from E is G. You see? E minor. An F minor is played like that because it's like an E minor. I'm going to talk about this in a moment because I'm moving the nut up. Does that make sense? There's a proverbial nut there below that nut. Interesting, eh? You can play it like that, or you can put the full bar in like that. I'm going to talk about that in a moment. And then you've got a G minor, and the way I learned to play it was like that, in the bar format. Now let's talk about bar. If you play the E chord like that, right? Now I'm going to play it with these three fingers, put my proverbial bar there beyond that nut. I've got E major. Bring it up, I've got F major, F sharp major, G major, G sharp major. Aha, you're now playing bar chords. The minor chords, you got your A minor, which is one of the first chords you play. One of the songs you'll probably learn to play first, Santana and Everlast. Put your lights on. A minor, C, C9, add 9, a D note. Remember? D, C, C sharp, D. 2, eh? But you're in the next octave, remember? So you call it 9. 2 plus 7, 9. G, in the old-fashioned way, the 3-finger version. F, and your partner will love you when you play that song. It's a beautiful song. I think it's had my highest views ever on the internet, but only yesterday and today I've deleted over 500 videos, which were covers of great songs since I was a little boy till current, but I've deleted them because I want to keep my channel original. But thank you all if you are a regular viewer, because I've picked up over 650 subscribers in the last 15 months from just over 6 years. So I like to think I'm getting better, but I appreciate your interest in me and help me build my pension fund up. Remember, I've got a great sense of humor. How do you strum a guitar? With emotion. Feel it. But the basic pattern, I'm going to play a G major chord in the bar format here, at the 3rd fret. Down, down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Down, down, up, down, up, up, down. Down, down, up, up, down, up, down. When I was 14, my friend used to come jam with me, sitting on the edge of our bed playing the patching. You can hear the tuning issues. Right, so one would strum. And just let's live with it. And the other one would play the lead, and eventually he taught me how to play the lead solo. Of course, I knew nothing about intervals, because that comes, and scales, because you're going to have to learn to know your scales. So you can go look all these scales up. I've shown you the major, the minor, A minor. You simply replace the major third, 1, 2, 3, with 1, 2, minor third. By the way, the minor scale is known as the Aeolian mode. The Aeolian mode, or the 6th mode. So if you were playing C, the 6th note in the C major scale would be A. So therefore you refer to Aeolian. Watch this. C major here at the 8th fret in the bar format in the E shape. 5th fret. If I examine the notes of the two, the C major, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, A minor, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. It's frightening, eh? This exact same notes. 1, 2, 3 frets down, play minor, you've got what is referred to as the relative minor chord. C becomes A minor. A minor is the relative minor of C major. If I play C minor, 1, 2, 3, I'm playing 11th fret, I'm playing E flat. C minor is the relative minor of E flat. Going really deep here, eh? But trust me, make notes of this. Catalog it. Don't blame yourself. It can take up to 2 years to get to know all this stuff and actually play. Now we're going to, as I say, there's no beginning, there's no end. Now I'm going to jump into scales. One of the first scales you're going to learn to play is A minor pentatonic. Pentatonic, Greek word for 5. Penta, pentatonic. Sounds more like sound to me. I didn't take Greek at school. So here we go. A, C, 1 minor third, because A minor. Minor third is 3 frets away. 4th, by the way, the 4th sits below the root. And likewise, the 5th sits there. Now, while we're doing that shape, from a root to a 5th is known as a power chord. An A5, or a C5, or a D5. The root and the perfect 5th, it's called the 5th chord. A power chord is the other name. Chords used by Black Sabbath in Paranoid. Simple, eh? E, power chord. D, power chord. A G, because my root's there. And to a D, to an E. Because you're going to get to know the fretboard notes. You know what? I put my finger there 10 years ago. I was playing with a bass guitarist, and he was taking a few lessons. He was really a brand new player. But he was talking about pentatonic scale. I didn't know what he was talking about. Then I went on the internet and I found out. Root, minor third, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, flat 7th, root. Minor third, 4th, perfect 5th, E, G to an A is the flat 7th, and back to A. Very powerful little scale that, because you know Chuck Berry rock and roll stuff, eh? All comes out of A minor pentatonic. Guess what? There's 5 positions in one octave up to the 12th fret of a minor pentatonic scale. Go look up those positions, write down the notes. I'll print out a scale chart. What I did there was I went from position 1 and I went down to position 5. Because it starts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I go below 1, I'm going to 5, okay? And you'll be astounded how many of your rock and roll songs of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s and beyond just use that simple formula to make some of the world's greatest music ever. That's all I'm doing. In other words, it's 5 modes if you care. 5 different positions where you're starting on each. This is position 1. You go figure. It's all there. You can go look it up on the internet. At least I'm giving you some idea where to go looking for the stuff. So you can learn to play chords And one thing is, when you learn something, learn to absolutely master it and then move on to the next topic. In the beginning, there's going to be so much information, you're going to say, this is you. And your hands are going to be sore, your arms and your muscles are going to ache, and you won't be able to go like this. You just won't be able to do it unless you know, and you got your you're going to ask, what's going on here? Well, let me tell you, I've got lessons on playing chords on one string, and all I'm doing here is playing a C minor, a C, a D minor, because I'm playing a root, a minor third, and an A, the perfect fifth of D. Now, I'm not saying that's the key that Eddie Van Halen played it in, the late Eddie Van Halen. But he knew about playing chords on one string. I can play it with one hand, but it's quite tricky, eh? Because to reach a fifth interval with one hand, that's all I'm doing. I'm just replacing it. That's tapping. We're covering a lot of ground here. So when you're learning to strum, just go like this. Sucker, pucker, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And tap your foot. And so on. So we talked about it. E bar chords, and then you talked about A bar chords. Some guys play like this. B, C, or they play like that. You can do all these things. We talked about E minor and a F sharp minor and a G minor and a A minor and a C minor. We talked about a C major, a minor third. And then you can pick with your, or you can do hybrid. You're using both. But I've whet your appetite for it. It's not necessarily my style. With the guitar is a unique instrument. You can bend. You can hammer on. So can you on a piano, but you can't pull off on a piano. You can only hammer on a piano. They don't allow you to brilliant exercises to do these things. Not music, but it's going to strengthen your abilities. I talked about arpeggios to you. The A, a minor third interval, and a perfect fifth. Perfect fifth, the minor third, the C and the A. And the major. The major third, and then you've got an A seventh, A minor seventh, the seventh is the note, the major seventh is the note below the root. But when it's done at the lower octave here, it's referred to as a raised seventh. The A flat to the A. That's harmonic minor. Raised seventh root, flat third, fourth, fifth. We're really this stage, I'm going to leave you to hopefully consolidate some of this information. I hope you paid attention. And if you can leave me a comment if you'd like me to talk more extensively on topics of your choice of some of this material I've covered. Well, your practice must consist of getting to know all these things initially. Playing songs, which is referred to as repertoire, practicing scales, but preferably not. We don't want to we rather want to go. Put some melody into it. Melody is moving from scale note to scale note. Come up with an idea in your head and play over the chord notes. Feel it. Okay? So you drop me a note if I can help you. No charge. I'll just make a video for you because I want to share the joy of you. Thank you very much for viewing this far, and I do encourage you to come back to it again. It's just been over an hour now. I've got to let the dogs out for a wee. Thank you.